For 3 decades, Hollywood kept asking Marisa Tomei the same question. When are you getting married? Tabloids speculated. Fans worried. Interviewers wouldn't let it go. She dated some of Hollywood's biggest names. Robert Downey Jr., Christian Slater, Logan Marshall Green. And yet, every relationship ended. Every engagement rumor died. People started whispering. Was something wrong with her? Was she too picky? Too career-focused? Too damaged? The theories piled up for years, until one interview changed everything. A reporter asked again, "Do you regret not settling down?" Marisa paused, then smiled. "I was never looking for someone to complete me. I was already whole." The room fell silent, and in that one sentence, 30 years of Hollywood's assumptions collapsed. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just about Marisa Tomei. It's about what Hollywood does to women who refuse to follow the script they were handed. Let's go back to the beginning. Marisa Tomei grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Middle-class family, Catholic upbringing, a world where the path was already drawn for you. School, marriage, family, repeat. But Marisa had a different fire inside her. She moved to Hollywood young, hungry, determined. And then in 1993, everything exploded. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for My Cousin Vinny. Overnight, she was a star. But here's what nobody talks about. The moment she won that Oscar, Hollywood stopped seeing her as just an actress. They started watching her personal life like a hawk. She was young. She was beautiful. She was successful. So the question began, who are you dating, Marisa? When's the wedding? Don't you want a family? She was 28 years old, and already the world had decided her career wasn't enough. Her happiness wasn't enough. She needed a husband to be complete. The pressure had begun, and it would not stop for the next 30 years. Now let's talk about the men, because Hollywood certainly did. First came Robert Downey Jr. They met in the early 90s, both young, both talented, both a little wild. The chemistry was undeniable on screen and off. But Robert Downey Jr., at that time, was a man at war with himself. Substance abuse, legal troubles, a life spiraling in slow motion. Marisa cared, but she wasn't willing to lose herself trying to save someone else. The relationship ended quietly. No explosion, no drama, just a woman who knew her own worth. Then came Christian Slater, another Hollywood bad boy, another intense connection, another relationship that burned bright and burned out. People blamed Marisa. She's impossible to love. She pushes men away. But look closer. She wasn't pushing men away. She was pulling herself forward. Then years later, Logan Marshall Green. This one lasted longer. This one felt different. This one, people thought, this is finally it. They were together for years. Low-key, private, genuine, and still no marriage. When it ended, the internet exploded again. What is wrong with her? But here's the question nobody asked. What if nothing was wrong? What if she just refused to mistake longevity for destiny? Let's call this what it actually was. Hollywood has a very specific story it tells about women. You are young. You are beautiful. You find love. You get married. You have children. And then, you fade gracefully into the background while your husband's career continues to soar. That's the script. And for decades, the industry, the tabloids, the interviewers, they were all waiting for Marisa to follow it. When she didn't, they called it a problem. Think about that. A woman builds one of the most respected careers in Hollywood history. 3 Oscar nominations. Iconic roles. A reputation for disappearing completely into every character she plays. And the headline was always, but why isn't she married? Not, how does she keep getting better with age? Not, what does her discipline look like? Not, how has she survived and thrived in an industry that discards women the moment they turn 40? No. The headline was always the husband. Always the ring. Always the thing she didn't have. This is what Hollywood does to women who refuse to perform femininity on demand. It turns their freedom into a flaw. But here's what Marisa was actually doing while Hollywood was busy worrying about her love life. She was working. Obsessively. Passionately. Unapologetically. She studied acting at Boston University. She trained on Broadway. She did the work that most Hollywood actresses never bother to do because they're too busy chasing fame. When her career hit a slow patch in the late 90s, and it did, because Hollywood is brutal, she didn't panic. She didn't rush into a marriage for stability. She didn't shrink herself to fit into smaller roles. She waited. She sharpened. She came back. The Wrestler in 2008 reminded the world exactly who Marisa Tomei was. Raw, real, completely fearless. Another Oscar nomination. She did it again. And through all of it, she was building a life on her own terms. Traveling, creating, living in a way that didn't require anyone's permission or validation. She once said in an interview, "I have a very rich life. No defense, no apology, no explanation. Just a statement of fact from a woman who was never waiting to begin living." Now let's go back to that interview, the one where everything shifted. "Do you regret not settling down?" She paused. She smiled. And she said, "Marriage isn't the finish line. It's just one option, and I chose differently." Read that again. What Hollywood had been calling a problem, she called a choice. What they labeled as fear, she called freedom. What they called waiting, she called living. This is the reframe that 30 years of tabloid coverage could never see coming, because the entire narrative assumed one thing, that Marisa Tomei wanted marriage and kept failing to find it. But the truth was the opposite. She wasn't failing to find it. She was succeeding at something else entirely. She was constructing a life where her wholeness didn't depend on another person's presence. In a world that tells women their value is tied to who chooses them, Marisa Tomei spent 30 years quietly proving that the most powerful choice a woman can make is choosing herself. Not out of bitterness, not out of damage, not out of fear, out of fullness. So the next time someone asks you why Marisa Tomei never married, you have the real answer now. She didn't fail to find love. She refused to let the world define what love had to look like for her. She watched Hollywood hand women a script: marriage, children, graceful disappearance. And she put the script down. For 30 years, everyone assumed she was waiting for the right person to arrive. But the truth was simpler and so much more powerful. She was never waiting at all. She was already living, fully, freely, unapologetically. And in a world obsessed with what women don't have, Marisa Tomei spent 3 decades being a quiet, relentless reminder of what a woman looks like when she decides she is already enough. That's not a tragedy. That's a blueprint. If this made you think differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it.